Are you looking for inspiration on a daily basis? Then check out Deal to Heal Teas. With our inspirational teas, you're sure to find something to inspire you. That's dealtohealteas.com. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear inspirational tea and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealteas.com. Again, that's dealtohealteas.com. Hi guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you'll enjoy the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. I'm your host, Earnest James. And on my podcast, my guests and I discuss topics and ways to help us to heal in every area of our lives. I believe that everyone can and should live a life that is whole, healed, and healthy. And therefore, I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with their problems, heal from the pain, and to fulfill their purpose. So check out our podcast. We're on Google Podcasts, Spotify, or even on Audible. And if you want to watch the podcast, check us out on our YouTube channel at Deal to Heal with E. James Podcast. Until then, see you soon. All right, welcome. Let's go. Welcome to the show. I am Ernest James.
I'm Ervin James.
This is the Earn Erv Podcast, where we're talking family, faith, fatherhood, and a little bit of foolishness mixed in between.
And our mission is to have the conversations that have strengthened our communities. So I believe that a strong family is the foundation of a community.
All right. First of all, let me say thank you guys for tuning in once again to the Earn Erv Podcast. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, make sure that you listen, like, subscribe, and share to our podcast on all of our social media platforms. Also, make sure you guys check out and subscribe our new YouTube channel. It's the Deal to Heal Podcasting Network on YouTube. We actually changed one of our podcast page. It used to be the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast page only, but now that we've switched over to the Deal to Heal Podcasting Network, where not only can you find our podcast, but you can find some of our other podcasts that is there also, including the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, the Girl Dead Discussions podcast, and the Faith Walk Love Talk podcast is also there. So we have several podcasts that is there on our new YouTube channel, which is the Deal to Heal Podcasting Network. So make sure you guys go and check that out. All right. So Ervin, how you doing today, man? How things going?
Oh man, things are going all right. Things are looking up. So, brighter days are to come. So I'm feeling good. About yourself?
I'm good. I'm actually looking forward to next weekend. I'll be going to Atlanta for a speakers conference. So I'm looking forward to that, to going there to work on my speaking business and even being able to, get that going the way that I wanted to. Definitely to my listeners, you guys can check that out. Check me out. I know we mentioned it later on in the podcast of our websites. So me as a speaker, to be able to hire me as a speaker to come out to speak to your students or your organization, or even do some workshops for you, right? So that's under the Deal to Heal brand. So it's dealhealfulfill.org. That's dealhealfulfill.org, where you can learn more about me as Ernest James, as a podcaster, speaker, and author. and where my personal mission is to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with their problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill their purpose. And so, I'll be going to Atlanta next week I'll be going to Atlanta next week for the first conference that I've been to. They've had many before, but it's actually going to be my first one, going to the speakers conference and learning more about the speaking industry and how to get, that business up and running the way that I want it to. So, I'm looking forward to that, man. Really looking forward to that and see how that goes. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. Yep. So,
growth, man. Growth.
Huh?
I said that's good. That's growth.
Oh, definitely. But you got to pay to play. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to get my coins together to make this trip. But it's all good. It's all good. I'm expecting some great things to come from it. So our product of the week, man. So as you guys know, we are a self-sustained podcast, and one of the ways that we stay on the air is by bringing you guys amazing products for you to purchase in order for us to stay on the air. And so our products of the week this week is our podcast merch, right? So it's our podcast merch. For those of you can see, we have our podcast t-shirts on here. You can see we have our Girl Dad Discussions podcast t-shirts and also our Deal to Heal with E. James t-shirts. We haven't put up the Earn Erv podcast merch yet, but it's still available. But it's on our Deal to Heal tees.com, which is our inspirational t-shirt line website. So it's on that same website as the Deal to Heal tees. That's Deal, the number 2, healtees.com. Put some inspiration in your situation. We're an inspirational tee and be inspired all day. That is our tagline for our inspirational tees. So make sure you guys go there and check out our podcast merch, but not only our podcast merch, but the other inspirational tees that we have available there. So make sure you guys go there and check that out, right? So that is our product of the week. And also, if you guys ever thought about starting your own podcast, I want you guys to go to I'm so messing up today. I want you guys to go to
slow it down.
The ebooks by ejames.com, ebooks by ejames.com to get your copy of the Start Your Podcast Now ebook and Start Your Podcast in only 3 steps. I wrote it because so many people was calling me and asking me about how to start a podcast, since I've been doing it for a little while now and have multiple podcasts. And they was like, all right, how did you do it? So I wrote it to make it really simple. Start your podcast now in only 3 steps. So make sure you guys go to ebooks by ejames.com. Again, that's ebooks by ejames.com to pick up your copy of the Start Your Podcast Now. And I promise you, it's very easy, very straightforward. You can have your own podcast up and running in less than a day if that's your goal, right? So make sure you guys go to ebooks by ejames.com and get your copy of the Start Your Podcast Now ebook. All right. So that being said, get all that out the way, Ervin, what are we talking about today, man? What is our topic for today?
Well, the topic today is about financial literacy in the family. These are the conversations that not too many people have too often, but are one of the most vital conversations that need to be had. Talking about balancing, your funds and budgeting. It's easy to spend the money, but it's hard to keep it.
Right. And I think that's important, because I think most people think that when it comes to being financially successful, should I say, is like you got to have a whole lot of money. And actually, you don't have to have a whole lot of money. The object is to earn more than you spend, right? And it's really that simple. If you earn more than you spend, so you always have money left over, then you pretty much can be financially set. It just depends on your lifestyle, on how much you want to spend, depends on how much you want to earn. You know what I mean? So if you're comfortable with an apartment and a nice car, you know what I'm saying, then you only have to get a certain amount of money, make a certain amount of money in order to, of course, spend less than what you make, live below your means, as is said, and you can be all right. But then, of course, if you want the mansion and the Bentleys, then you got to make more money, but it's still the same concept. You just make more and you still got to spend less than what you make, and you still have to have some left over to invest. So I think, like I said, I think most people always think, well, I need more money. And the problem with that is, if you don't know how to use the money that you have, just because you get more money is not going to fix your problems, right? So it's been said, money don't fix money problems, right? So I can give you money, more and more and more money, and you'll still have the same exact problems. You know what I'm saying? It'll just be on a higher scale, So the thing with money, you have to learn how to use it, when to use it, and the principles of basically what we're talking about today, the principles of financial literacy.
Yeah. So it's just like when you come to your money, like you said, the more money, just because you make more money doesn't mean you're going to keep more money. The more money you get, your appetite gets higher. The things you want, greater things, bigger things, flashier things that you want people to be like, oh wow, and all impressed and everything. But that's not going to keep your money. It's money, and budgeting is like a vehicle. If you got a antifreeze leak, you can always buy more antifreeze and keep putting it in there. But that's not going to fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You got to fix the problem to make the antifreeze sustain the way it's supposed to sustain. So that's the same thing with money. If you don't get the money in a place where it can be sustained and kept for later endeavors on whatever you want to do, then you're just wasting money. Money's going right out the door. It's like having a hole in your pocket. You buy something, and then you like it, and then tomorrow you see something that's a little bit more shiny. It's the same thing, but it just got a little bit more shininess to it. Like the cell phones, it got a little bit more another screen on it or another camera on it. There's nothing wrong with the one you got, but because that one's just a little bit more shinier, it's like, well, I got the money, so I can always keep upgrading it. Yeah, so I think budgeting and learning how to balance your finances is one of the biggest things that we need to learn. And I'm glad that growing up poor, when you don't have much, it teaches you how to preserve what you have. When you grow up and you never had to work for anything and money was always available, you kind of treat it like it's nothing, but you don't really understand the value is in budgeting and being able to, keep something to the side like an emergency fund. Who talks about an emergency fund? Not too many people. They talk about a savings and they talk about checking, but they don't really talk about emergency funds. So I'm gonna ask you, how much you think would be a comfortable number for what we would consider an emergency fund?
If I'm not, first of all, let me say this, because we always have to give the disclaimer: we are not financial experts, right?
Not at all.
We are not financial experts, and this is just for conversation and our own personal opinions, and how to use your finances and things like that. So this is just our personal opinion. We are not giving financial advice. We are not financial advisors. But
no degrees in that place.
Right. If I was, I probably would have more money than I got.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
So I think first of all, I think we should have at least 3 months on the low end, 3 months of reserve to be able to cover your monthly expenses. So whatever that your monthly expenses are, then multiply that by 3 and at least have that much. Ideal, to be on if you were really able to like really kick it up a notch, I would do 12 months, 12 months of reserve, so that if anything happened, you have a year of reserve set to the side to be able to maintain your lifestyle, or at least for a year. If something was to happen, you got sick or unemployed or whatever the situation was,
Right.
You want to be able to still sustain. We don't want to be living check to check, which many of us are, at this time. But
Yeah.
that's the goal. The goal is to have the reserve put to the side to be able to cover your monthly expenses. And now that's also, let us say, that's separate from your savings. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not your savings. Like, oh, well, I'm saving. No, that's to cover your monthly expenses. You know what I'm saying? That's what that's for.
Yeah,
Your savings
is
a whole nother. Yeah, your savings is a whole nother thing. Because I know I have some people be like, hey, well, I'm saving to get this and I'm saving to do that. And I'm like, okay, but you know what I'm saying? Your savings fund, your savings, and it's just like your bank account. Your checking account and your savings account can't be the same account. You know what I'm saying? Because they cancel each other out. One of them is made for you to spend, and one of them is made for you to save. So if they're the same account, you know what I'm saying? You're not accomplishing neither one of them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So your expense account, rainy day fund, whatever you want to call it. I don't even want to say rainy day fund too. So we know the power of words, so we can even change the name of it. Call it financial reserve if we want to, because the rainy day is like, okay, you saving for something bad to happen. So we just even change that language, because we're not saving for something bad to happen. We're saving for something good to happen. And the good could be whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I just decide to take off a year. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to, lose my job or whatever for it to be like, all right, now I got to tap into this reserve fund. It could be simply I just decide to. I decide I want to go to Europe for a year and travel the world. Which some people have some people have done. So we want to have that. What do we say? Financial fund. I don't even know what I just said to call it, but definitely not rainy day fund. Whatever you call it, whatever you call it, live your life fund or whatever.
Money right now fund.
Yeah, but we want to have that set to the side, to be able to maintain our lifestyle at least 3 months on the low end. To start with, I would give my opinion. I don't want to say I would advise. I'm not going to say advise, but I would suggest that you have at least 3 months of reserve, of financial reserve, to be able to maintain, in case of whatever. But if you can get a year's worth of finances set to the side for that, that'd be awesome. But I would say at least three months.
Yeah, 3 months on a minimum, 6 months. Well, for me, 6 months, that'll be something that you're capable of doing. And 12 months will be great. It will be awesome. But, with the prices of things going up and they steady changing things, 12 months is that would cause some real
right. No. So let me say this is we're not saying like it's gonna happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? That's the goal to get to. So you definitely can't save up 12 months of expenses in a year. You know what I'm saying? That means you have to save up your whole every check for that year. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's the goal, that we're trying to get to. So, once we start that process and doing that, we eventually will get there. Just like even getting to the 3 months of financial reserve, it is going to take some time to get there. But if we start working on it, you know what I mean? Start putting a little bit to the side, eventually, we'll hit that goal. So, but it's not, like I said, it won't be overnight, you know what I'm saying, to be able to save that amount, but that definitely will be, I think 3 months, 3 to 6 months, on the 3 to 6 months at the minimum. We could get 3 to 6 months at the minimum, then that's at least putting ourselves in a good position. But if we can get to 12 months, 8 months, 12 months of reserve set to the side, that's even better.
And like you said, it's possible. All this stuff is possible. Even sometimes, when I sit down and I look at the bills and start lining things up, I'll always tell my sons and my daughters, I used to always talk to them and I tell them, I said, look, money's always going to be available. That's just the truth. You will always be able to come across some money. If you sell a candy bar for $1, you just got some money. So money is always available. But the thing is having what I consider a budget-friendly pattern. It's your patterns, it's the things that you do on a daily basis that will determine how long you're going to keep that money. It's easy to get the money, but it's even easier to lose the money. If you're not mind conscious about what's in your bank account, you get your bills lined up, and you pay for your gas, you get your car fueled up, you make sure you keep up with the maintenance and so on and so forth. All the things that are important. I would say get a budget planner. I recently started doing that. I will always have lay out all the bills on a piece of paper and see what's due this month, this week. But I always knew about planners, but I never really paid too much attention to it. But recently this year, I bought me a planner and I started writing in it. And I realized that it's so much easier to keep up with things, because you can see it, visualization. That's like one of the biggest keys. So if you don't constantly keep a check on your account, so I check my account every day because I like to know what I have. I don't want to just assume, because when you assume and you're spending, if you got bad patterns, you don't realize how much you're spending. If you're always going somewhere, then you're constantly filling your tank up with gas. But you thinking, oh, $30 here, $40 there, it ain't nothing. But if you're doing $30, $40 every other day, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can easily get in the hundreds within a week.
Right.
And if you only had $600 in the bank and you just put $300 on gas, you ain't got food. You still got to pay the bills, So the patterns, whatever your patterns are, make sure that you're making budget-friendly patterns. If I don't have to go nowhere, then I don't need to just get up and go. Some people, if you call them, hey, can you take me here then? Oh, sure. And they don't get gas money from people. You know what I'm saying? So you still got to fill that tank up when you finish doing all this running. When you get back and now you got to get ready to go to work, you got to fill up that tank. So now you're looking at what's in your bank, and now you got to decide, how much am I going to put in the gas tank, and will I still be able to pay this bill that came up? And that's outside of any, like we said, emergencies, flat tires or, what I'm saying, or broken holes or whatever the case may be. You got to start making budget-friendly patterns. That's what I think.
Yeah. And things been harder, things has gotten harder because they've gotten easier, right? So my saying used to be years ago, the way that I keep money in my pocket is by keeping money out of my pocket, right? So I would carry only a certain amount, probably like $100 a day. I would keep $100 in my wallet, right? And then everything else was in the bank. And so I will only monitor that $100, like how I spend that $100, right? And so that was my way of keeping money in my pocket, because I knew, okay, I only have $100, to work with. So if it's not necessary, then I wouldn't spend it, But things have gotten easier now because we have the debit cards, right? So it's easier just to swipe, and then before you know it, like you said, if you're not being mindful of how many times you swipe or what you swiping on, especially with the prices, a Happy Meal, value meal, every day, that's $12 to $20 a day just on one. And we're not even talking about, if you get a value meal for lunch and then one for dinner on the way home, so you spend about $40 a day. So by the time you get to the end of the week, you're in $200-$300 a week just on food, and you're not conscious of it because you're just swiping. Oh, I know it's in there, swipe, and so I might even have to get back to that mindset of, you know what, I'm going to use cash, for the week. Like I got this $100 for the week in cash, and that's what I'm gonna use. And so I budget this $100 to get me through the week. Of course, there are some things that you have to set aside for, like gas. You got to get gas.
Mhm.
But that should be a something that's already budgeted. We were talking about budgeting. That should be something you are already budgeted at the beginning of the way I do it, at the beginning of the week. One of the first things you do is fill up your vehicle. So I
Yep.
know as much as I drive for work and things like that, I probably have to fill up 1.5 times a week, right? So if I fill
Mhm.
up at the beginning of the week, by the time we get to like Thursday and Friday, I might have to put a little more, not necessarily fill it up, but I might have to add to it to be able to finish out the rest of the week for whatever I need to do. And then come Sunday or Monday, I fill up again, so I know at the most, I'll probably have to fill up twice, right? And so
Right.
if that's $40, which is probably a little bit more now, but let's say $50. If it's $50 for me to fill it up at the beginning of the week, and then another 20 by the end of the week, I know what I'm working with as far as
Exactly.
how much I'm spending just on gas, which is a necessary um investment, I would say. That's necessary. But when we're talking about, you know, other stuff, like I said, like food or whatever, budgeting that $100 that you have in your pocket, in your physical hand, you're more able to watch your spending. But if you just swipe, you'll mess around and be just spill out your money and didn't even realize it by the time you get there. And then let's talk a little bit about that because excuse me, talk a little bit about credit because we didn't growing up, excuse me, growing up, mama had great credit, right? Mama
A1.
had great credit. And I remember she actually went with me and you when we bought our first cars. I don't even know if you remember that when we went to that one spot, we bought
Oh
our
yeah.
first cars, and she co-signed for me and you at the
Of
same
South
time.
Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I remember we had. Of course, we talked about last episode. We talked about the Chevette. You know what I mean? So we had
Yeah.
cars that we had paid cash for.
Right.
Over the times. But as far as getting our first car that we had to get a loan for, um, Mama signed, co-signed for both of
Yeah.
us. On the
Both of
same
us.
day actually. But I don't think there were some things that we learned later, that I don't even think Mama knew, even to the
Mhm.
point of not necessarily co-signing, but what they call it, trade lines, or what is the word when you put somebody on your account? I can't think of the word.
Um,
What the word is? Um,
Authorized users.
yeah, authorized users, right? And so for those of you who don't know, like we didn't know at that time, if you have great credit, you can put someone on your credit as an authorized user, and they basically will get your credit history, but it will be attached to their name, right?
Right.
And so when you give them, sign them up as an authorized user, that gives them the same credit score that you have, basically, um, and it also will give them access to your credit with a credit card in their name,
Mhm.
but you don't have to give them the credit card. You know what I mean? So it's a great way to start your kids off.
Right.
Especially like if they get like once they hit like 16,
Great way.
17, I think you could put them on
Yep.
as an authorized user at that age.
16.
So that would give
Yeah.
them, if you do it at, I think 16. So if you
Yeah.
put them on
16.
at 16, and again, don't give them your credit card, right? We're just giving them we're just giving them our credit history by making them authorized user. But when you sign up for authorized user, they will send you a credit card with their name on it. But you
Mhm.
keep that in your possession. But if you do that
Please
when
keep
they're
it.
16, by the time they're 16, 17, 18, 19, where let's say 20, by the time they get to 20, where they're ready to actually start building their own credit and learning how to use it, they already are starting off with a great credit score. Now let me
Right.
say this: if your credit sucks, Don't put your kids on there. You know what I'm saying? Don't put your kids on there and mess their credit up, and don't go get credit cards in their name and jack their credit up. Okay, so let's get that
Exactly.
out the gate, because
Exactly.
coming up, that was big when we were coming up. You by the time you get 18, you get cars in your name and everything, and you're like, I'm just getting started. I'm already in debt. You know,
Right.
that's
You know that light bulb went off as soon as you said that. Oh yeah, I can. No. We ain't trying to do that.
right.
We trying to be smart. We trying to make good decisions. And it's crazy because it seems like the more technology we have, it's almost like they really trying to set us up. Like you said, when you keep $100 in my pocket, I know I only got $100 in my pocket. That's what I got to work with. But when I'm leaving home and I got 3 bank cards and 2 credit cards or whatever in my pocket, so now my availability have expanded. So whereas I would only spent $100 because I only had $100, now I have access to all of my money. So now my decision making is it's more open now, and that's where a lot of people get themselves caught into some stuff because you get out there and you see some things. Oh, I wanted to. I was going to ask you earlier because you was drinking coffee. If you do the Keurig, I think that's how you said the Keurig coffee maker thing, and those things are expensive, but it's a lot of people buying them now.
Right.
It's everything is becoming convenience, and that's what's getting us in these bad budgeting habits because everything is convenience. Money is always at your fingertips, wherever you at. If you get in there and you swipe this card and they say, oh, it's insufficient funds. I remember one year I was at a Walgreens, man, and I stopped. I forgot what I went to go get, but I remember this because there was a lady in front of me and she swiped her card and the lady said, oh, it declined. So she was like, oh, okay. She swiped another card. She did this like 3 times, like 3, 4 times, different cards. Each one of them declined. And I laugh every time I think about this. She opened up her wallet and it folded out. Like, back in the days, we had them picture wallets and all the pictures, all credit cards. She was like, one of these got to work. And I just died laughing. Like, wow. You know what I'm saying? But I always remember that. That was like years and years ago. I never forgot that. I said, man, that is crazy. But that's the way they're setting us up. They're trying to make us become so comfortable with convenience that we tend to get ourselves into a budget frenzy, and we don't know how to keep everything the way it's supposed to be. So yeah, we're teaching our kids. I think we need to teach them how to use credit cards. I think we need to teach them how to use bank cards. Back in the days, mom, I think we was about 15 by the time we turned 15 years old. She went in and helped us get a bank account. So that's something that I do with my kids. As soon as you hit high school, I take you get a bank account, have your own bank account, your own name, and I'll show you how to put money in and out, just trying to teach them responsibilities, but at the same time, trying to also teach them how easy it is to spend all your money and don't have nothing. So I think that's something that we really need to really teach our kids, teach the youth about, being financially responsible, whether it's a bank card or whether it's a credit card, because there's a lot of different things that comes with having a credit card that's not being taught. Like you said, mom had A1 credit, and it's an amazing thing because mom didn't work. So mom figured out a way. She always had A1 credit. The day that I rode with you guys, I hadn't really planned on getting no car. And she just asked me if I wanted to go. So I rode with you guys, and I guess while I was there, and the guy was like, yeah, well, you trying to get a car too? And I'm like, nah. I had my check, my Friday, it was Friday. I had my check in my pocket because I was planning on going to cash it. And he was like, well, your mom's got A1 credit, if she wants to sign for it. And mom was like, yeah, go ahead and look. I'm like, but I don't think I got my check. He was like, oh, that's fine. You can use that as a down payment. See, that's how they get you.
Right.
They speak all these little nice words to you.
Right.
Just get you to sign your name on the contract. But it's a beautiful thing, though, because that car, I had that car for 20 years. 20 years that car lasted me, man. And
Well, unfortunately,
unfortunately,
I didn't have mine that long. Because we won't go into details. But
Right.
took it to the
Unfortunate
mechanic.
circumstances.
I took it to the mechanic to fix it, and after he worked on it, he went to test drive it and then crashed it into somebody. So, so that was pretty much the end of my vehicle.
Oh man.
But even that, understand credit and stuff, because even with Mama having A1 credit, not even really knowing that, with the credit that she had, we could have walked in there and should have been able to walk in there and her basically sign off on it and walk out without a down payment, because she had the credit. But I don't think, like I said, it was a lot of things that I think she knew and didn't know, because I'm sure she didn't know about authorized users, because that would have made it easier for her to do that, sign and put us on as authorized users, which would have given us her credit history, but then allow us to, put the cars in our own name. That way it still wouldn't have affected her as far as her credit, and then again, had she known, it's 9 of us, you know what I mean? So we all could have had a start, get a good start with great credit. And I think that would have definitely helped all of us, at the beginning of our journeys. But again, I'm pretty sure she didn't know that, because I'm sure she would have done it instead of, co-signing for us.
Exactly.
But let's talk a little bit about, when we talked about credit a little bit. Let's talk about a little bit about investing, and knowing the difference between assets and liabilities, because I think in this generation, everybody looks at, or I ain't gonna say everybody, but with the younger generation now, they look at all the flashy things and all the things that they want, and the things that you can see. It's just like, oh man, those things, that's what I want. But the majority of those things are all liabilities, right? There's no assets. Right. So you buy a new car and you got the flashy car, but that's a liability. That's something that is okay. Let's go back a little bit and just talk about the difference in what is an asset and what is a liability. Right. And so in layman's terms, an asset is something that brings you money, that brings in money. A liability is something that's costing you money, right?
Every day.
So that's the simplest way to put it, right? And so when we're talking about buying a car, if we're talking about buying a car, could a car be an asset? Yes. So if you buy a car and you drive Uber with that car, and you're making more, you're working the Uber and you're making more than what you're spending on the car note, then that car becomes an asset, because now it's bringing you in money. It's not only paying for itself, but it's bringing in extra income. So that's car becomes an asset.
The part I want you to get
right?
to.
So if you're buy a new car and you only use it to drive around and be flashy, then it becomes a liability, because you're paying for that. And it's not bringing anything back to you. Do you feel good? Yeah, you might feel good. Do you look good? You might look good. You might even impress your friends and girlfriends, boyfriends, whoever. You know what I'm saying? But financially, it's just taking money. It's not bringing nothing back to you. So now that becomes a liability, And that's with anything, whether it's clothes, whether it's shoes, whether it's cars, whatever, whether it's jewelry. If you're spending money on these things, and those things are not adding money back to you, then those things are all liabilities. If you are investing, which is the appropriate term, if you are investing that money into something that's going to bring money back, then now you are, that's an asset. So it's also like the difference between buying a house and buying a apartment building, right? And so just so those of you who don't know, especially if you are a first-time home buyer, the loan that you get to buy your first home generally is the same loan that you can get to buy an apartment building up to 4 units. So I think that needs to be said, because I think that needs to be planned, right? So oftentimes we're always thinking about buying our first home, but if we use that same loan and bought a small apartment building, whether it be 2 units, 3 units, up to 4 units, I would say go ahead to get all 4. Get a 4 unit because you can, right? So use that same loan to get a 4 unit building, and then you live in one apartment, rent out the other three. And then let's say the next year or 2 years after you've saved up, money, whatever, then buy a house, because now that apartment building will be bringing income, because the apartment building is an asset. It will bring in income to be able to cover you to buying a house. Because oftentimes we've been taught over the years that buying a house is an asset, but buying a house is not necessarily an asset unless you know how to use it. You know what I mean? Unless you know about equity and things like that. If you don't know how to use that investment, then it's really not an investment, it's a liability, because all you know is paying the mortgage on it, right? So if you don't know how to operate with that to make it an asset, then it's really just a liability. So it goes back to what we were talking about with the financial literacy and really knowing the difference in the two and knowing how to use your finances correctly.
And I like the way that you put that, even with getting a building. And when you were talking about that, and I was thinking to myself right before you had responded about the home is a liability unless you learn how to turn it into an asset. And these are some of the things that I've been learning recently over the last couple of years, how trying to turn your home into an asset. You can home-based businesses. We're learning a lot about that now. So now what was a liability has now become an asset, because now there's bringing in income, and that income can possibly pay the mortgage. Like you said, anything can be a liability, but you can turn it into an asset when you're making money from it and the money is paying for it. And you're able to also have some income put to the side as a safety net. So that's when that liability now turned into an asset. I've been learning a lot about equity. I've been learning a lot about, trying to utilize the money that you have. But see here, and like you said before, we're not financial experts, so we're just conversational things. But if you do your research, there is a lot of things available. That's why I said technology has advanced so much, so it leaves us without an excuse now. Back in the days, like our parents, they didn't really have a lot of information. It's only whoever you talk to, whatever you learn, that's what you have. But now with our generation and generations after us, anything you want to know, you can just type it up on any electronic device and you can find out about it. So we're left without any excuses, like period. You know what I'm saying? So you want to learn about financial stability, type it up. You want to learn about home equity loans, type it up. You want to learn about how credit cards work, type it up. Anything you want to know, you can type it up. So we're left without an excuse. But here's the thing, though. Even with getting the information, if you don't know how to use it, you're going to be right back in the same pool with the other ones that's making bad decisions. So, I love the way that technology has advanced us. I love that. But like I said, we have to be careful, because the more convenient you are, the more comfortable you become. And when you become too comfortable, that's when you start making bad spending habits. You start making bad budget patterns. So I try to teach my kids, every time you get a paycheck, you should be putting some money to the side. You put money to the side for gas. You put money to the side for those whim moments when you just want to stop at a restaurant or whatever the case may be. You want to treat yourself. You put money to the side for that. Always make sure that your bills are first and then start putting money to the side. You always want to have savings and emergency fund. You got to have separate. It's got to be both, because you don't want your savings to always end up going into the emergencies, because the emergencies, you don't know when they're going to happen, but it will happen. So you want to have, some kind of cushion. And so saving up is real good. 3 to 6 months is perfect. 12 months, phenomenal. Man, if I can hit that 12-month mark, oh my goodness, everything is going to change. But you got to have a plan. Don't just have money and don't have no plan. They have that saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Mm-hmm. And that holds with anything in life, whatever it is, whether you start a company, whether you want to purchase your first home or your first car, whatever it is. If you don't have a plan, and that plan has to include some kind of budget, then you're going to find yourself in a pickle, as they say.
Right, right. All right, all right. I think we talked about enough for today. I definitely would, give some value to our listeners, and hopefully that you guys got some value out of everything we've been talking about today. Talking a little bit about financial literacy, and again, we're not experts. We're just kind of giving our opinion and some of our experiences. So definitely make sure that you guys, look into learning more yourself. Like I said, with the internet, everything is at your fingertips. Every information that you want to know is at your fingertips. And the difference between knowledge and wisdom is how you apply it. Right.
Exactly.
So you have the knowledge. The knowledge is at your fingertips, but the wisdom is learning how to use it. So make sure that you guys, and you're getting the knowledge, you also get wisdom along with it. So yeah, learn how to get the money, but the wisdom is going to let you know how to spend it, save it, and invest it. Definitely want to invest it. That's the key to bring in, to make your money work for you. Not just to make money, because if you just make money, that's only going to get you so far. Because if we talk about, which we didn't get into, talking about streams of income, and we, as when we get into that part of it, we start talking about having multiple streams of income. We realize that the first stream of income is earned income. So that's the money that you physically have to go out and work for. But then after that is when we talk about other streams of income, is how can you use that earned income to start making money for you, to start making other streams of income that you don't physically have to work for. It may take some physical in it, but you're not working like by the hour. Let's say if one of your things is writing books, which we'll talk about the ebooks after this. But if one of your things is writing books, it will take some effort for you to write the book, right? But once the book is written, then it's marketing and things like that to actually sell it, and then now that book becomes an asset, because now it can bring in money without you physically. It's like once you write it, you don't have to keep writing it. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's written. Then now it's a matter of selling it and marketing and things like that. And that way, you can now have another stream of income. So speaking of which, didn't mean to get all into that, but speaking of which, streams of income and books, make sure you guys go to ebooksbyejames.com. Again, that's ebooksbyejames.com to check out some of the ebooks that we actually have available there for you guys, including the Core 4, which is the 4 core values that every daughter should get from her father. Forgiving Me, the 3 steps to self-forgiveness, and the book From Males to Men, which is a male mentoring ebook. All of those are also there, as well as the Start Your Podcast Now ebook is also there at ebooksbyejames.com. So make sure you guys go there. And there's an opportunity for you guys. If you guys really like the ebooks, which I'm sure you will, you can also become an affiliate. There's a way right there on the page to become an affiliate of the ebooks. That way, when you suggest them, of course, those who knows how affiliate links work, when you sign up for it, you'll get your own special link. And when you send your friends and family or just to whoever to look into the ebooks, if they purchase an ebook after going through your link, then you will get 50% of whatever they spend. So if they spend $100, you'll get $50 out of that 100 will go straight to you with no effort on your own. You didn't have to write the ebooks or anything. So like I said, if you know how affiliate marketing works, then you guys, that's an opportunity for you guys. So definitely check out the ebooks at ebooksbyejames.com for yourselves, but also for so that you guys can possibly be an affiliate. I would say advocate, an affiliate of the ebooks, and make some money on your own. So make sure you guys check that out. Also, I want you guys to go to and also that's also in the descriptions. Everything that we're talking about and mentioning the links are in the descriptions. So whether you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, or wherever, when you go to the descriptions, even whether you're listening to it on Spotify, on the podcast platforms, all this information will be in the description. So you can go into the descriptions and click those links. Definitely want you guys to grab your purpose journal and your purpose planner. I definitely believe that we need to journal so that we keep track of where we've been and where we are, as well as planning for our future. So make sure you guys get the purpose journal and purpose planner, because I believe that we were born and created on purpose, for a purpose, and with a purpose. So make sure you guys grab that. Again, those are available on Amazon, but the links will be in the description where you guys can grab that also. So that being said, Ervin, we had a great discussion today. Definitely, we've definitely have to get it talking about the streams of income on an upcoming episode. But I think that we'll at least get the conversation started with the financial literacy. So that being said, we had a great conversation. Any words of wisdom or something to leave our listeners with before we get out of here?
All right, for the listeners, like I said, get you a planner, order you the purpose journal, so you'll have something to write down your journey, where you're going. But also make it a habit to set yourself up a budget. Get some budget friendly habits, some budget friendly actions, and that'll set you up for the future. If you set yourself up right now, then when you get down the line, you'll be better off than where you are now. So set yourself a budget and make a difference.
All right, we can't end it no better than that. To our listeners, thank you guys for tuning in once again to the Earn and Erv Podcast, where our mission is to have the conversations that will grow and inspire our communities, right? So make sure you guys check us out every week. Also, make sure you guys go to the website or to the YouTube channel and follow us on YouTube, on our new YouTube channel, which is the Deal to Heal Podcasting Network, where we have other podcasts. We try to bring you a value podcast every day of the week. So right now we got Tuesdays, Wednesdays. Yeah, Tuesdays, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday covered. So we just got to get one more for Mondays. But if you go to the YouTube channel, the Deal to Heal Podcasting Network, we have a valuable podcast dropping every single day. An episode of a podcast is being dropped. So make sure you guys go there and check us out. So until next time, again, thank you guys for tuning in to Earn and Erv Podcast. Until next time, you guys be blessed.
Be blessed.